So I welcome everyone. I'm going to share my screen. We have a few slides prepared. Just share, and I hope you can see the beautiful slides that Cindy has prepared for us. Many thanks, Cindy. Well done. So this is our sixth annual show of OU Design students' work. I'm absolutely delighted that we seem to be growing from year to year in the exhibition, as well as in the participants that come to the opening of the show, like you today. So I'm really happy to welcome you to our annual show 2023. The Design and Innovation degree has 3 main modules, and every year we are having a competition. And this year we thought, without any waiting, we're going to jump into announcing our winners and highly commended submissions to our design competition. Okay, let's get started. I hope everyone is here who has won and was highly commended. This year, we have for each module 2 commendations and 1 winner. And let's start with U101, highly commended. So our first highly commended is Jacqueline Quinn. Jacqueline has really demonstrated an excellent process in designing her t-shirt, going through the observation of her hands in an abstraction process. She's communicated it really well and produced a beautiful outcome. So Jacqueline, really well done. Congratulations. We really liked your design. If you're here, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, Jacqueline. Hello.
Hi. Oh, can I say
Hi.
hello? Hi, you okay?
Well done, Jacqueline.
Thank you. That's great.
Really
Thank
well
you
done.
very much. Thank you.
Yes, lovely.
Pleased with that. Yeah.
I'm going to invite the winners to talk a little bit about their designs, but for Jacqueline, she's obviously on the website. You're going to see in a few moments. Here's actually the link to each individual highly commended and winning piece is on here as well. So if you're cheeky, you could just go there, but still listen to us. Still listen to us. Don't leave us entirely.
Okay.
And more is
Cheers.
written about Jacqueline's work as well.
Thank you.
Our next commendation, highly commended for addressing an inclusivity need, is Nicola Ainsworth. Nicola, congratulations, well done. We really liked your work. It's well communicated.
It's really just add randomly join the call.
Okay, could you please unmute yourself just for the moment, if that's okay? Thank you. So I just wanted to say, Nicholas observed a real need, very close to her heart, I believe, and you can also read up more on the website, and designed a really credible prototype for a smart lace that helps you tie your laces if you don't have an arm, for example. So that was really well done, well communicated, a really credible design. So congratulations, Nicola, really well done. All right, are you ready? Are you ready for our U101 winner? All right, I hope you're around. Let me see. Do we have Emily Ball? Hello, Emily. Are you around? It would be lovely, really lovely to hear a little bit more about your winning design. It was voted the best overall design for U101. Emily, congratulations, really well done. Is Emily here? Would you like to say something?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Brilliant, thank you.
Muffled.
I'm quite happy because it took me ages to make the board.
Yeah, it looks like it. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I'm trying to think. It took me ages to get to the final sort of shape. So I went through loads of different board types first and different concepts, and started with like the idea of I chose tea making as my service, and then started to think about, like cafes or when you go around to your friends for a cup of tea, and then I sort of moved on to what if it was a race, and so I had this like square board, and then I was thinking, what if I made it a race? And then I started thinking about Ludo and other board games, and I just sort of ended up with what I've got there. And it one of my reasons for sort of settling on that rather than like a traditional board game shape was that it's like when you sat with your friends around the table drinking tea, it's almost the same as that, which I quite like. So you sat playing the game with your friends. What I found in my research as well is that across the world, drinking tea in whatever form seems to be quite a social thing, and so I just kind of liked that the game made use of that as well, that it's a social thing. That might have sounded like complete gibberish because I'm completely surprised.
No, you could totally see that you went through a very long, thoughtful process. It really comes across in what you wrote and how you presented it, and then obviously how you've shown your game and explained it to us. So it's absolutely fantastic. Really, really well done. Congratulations, Emily.
Thank you.
We're not surprised to know. Yeah. Well, you're actually on the show. Yeah, I'm an exhibitor.
Let's move on. We have a few more commendations and winners to go through. So our T217, highly commended. Are you ready? Laurie. Hi, Laurie. Laurie Harper. Are you around? Congratulations. Your design is highly commended for the fact that it really responds really well to the context within which you were asked to design it in for the ditching bacon. So many congratulations. Well done. Very well done, Laurie. Is Laurie with us? Laurie's not with us.
I think she is. I'm sure I saw her come in, Nick. Maybe she's just been quiet.
Okay. That's okay. Laurie, what we really liked about the design is that it's actually a beacon. I'm sure she's done that really well. It's a climbing frame and ropes, and we were pretty sure you went through a very thorough process and thinking about what the park might need and how you could design something to entice visitors to come and visit, and especially for children. I think loads of children like climbing on these kind of climbing ropes. So it was well communicated, a great idea, a great design. So well done. It's a highly commended work. Let's go to our next one. And this is Robin. Hi, Robin Dean. Really well done. Highly commended. Yes. Hey, hello. It's commended for really great prototyping and testing, a playful design. We loved your idea. It was really great. Well done. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
God, I don't know what to say about it really. I got the idea from, I noticed there was these reversible octopuses. I don't know if you've seen them. And once I started noticing them, I just seemed to see them everywhere. So I thought it would be a good idea with, you know, having that transformation,
Yes.
you know, from the caterpillar to the butterfly. You could make a 2-in-1 toy, you know, so that's
it's a simple idea but really effective. I know that children and you had someone prototyping and testing your toy, didn't you? And I can definitely I can relate. My children love this transformation. If it's an actual transformation, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's really well done. Great work.
Thank you.
Well done, Robin. Perfect. Okay, are you ready for our, let me get this out of the way, for our next, no, not clicking on, no. Winner. Our T217 winner is Peter Dyer. Is Peter around? Congratulations, Peter.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hello. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's amazing. That's an honor. That's amazing.
So tell us a little bit about it, please.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this assignment. So I kind of got stuck right in and I came up with 5 different ideas and they were based around existing kind of hubs or food selling hubs basically. So yeah, and then I used adaptation and combination of these existing ideas, and then I used selection matrices to kind of whittle it down to the container idea. And then just by considering the brief and the context, the site and the surroundings, aspects like sustainability, that sort of thing. And then I've kind of whittled it down, the design bit by bit, until I came up with this layout. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Honestly, we've been really impressed with the detail of your presentation of the design. It's very thought through, really detailed and very well presented. So it really struck out as a very excellent design. So well done. Well done.
Thank you very much, guys.
Fantastic. Okay, let me move on. T317, highly commended. Okay, we have Braden Turpin. Is Braden around here?
I am. Hello.
Hello. So what we thought of your design is that it's really a visionary design. We really thought like, wow, these are loads of ideas, you know, that could really kind of be very future thinking and visionary in their communication and the presentation of your design. Congratulations, really well done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your design?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah. So it's basically an eco community. The idea was that it was all self-sufficient, so that each pod that you sort of lived in had different sort of features. So there was like a greenhouse pod that provides the food supply and everything for the community, and then there's like a base pod that has like a restaurant and cultural things in there, and like more of a vision of, instead of it being like a school, it were more like learning skills that you needed and like workshops and things like that. And then there was the idea of in the facilities pod where you'd go and like use a laundrette and have washing rooms, and your apartments would just be like your bedroom basically, and you'd all kind of live together and work together for the common goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, I just thought it was a cool idea to just, especially tackling some environmental issues there and things like that. So yeah, it was really good. Yeah, so thank you.
Really well done. Well done, baby. Fantastic. Our next commendation is Samaya Tilly. Congratulations. Samaya around.
Hello.
We thought Samaya, hey,
you.
yeah. Oh, perfect. What we thought was a really well thought through idea that relates to sustainability and recycling. So would you like to say us a little bit more about your design?
Yeah, so I thought of it because I was frustrated about with the current recycling system and how a lot of people don't recycle because they get confused or things are thrown into the wrong bins, and then there's cross contamination. And I just wanted to have a solution that would make things a lot easier for people to recycle. And I thought, what's the best way? I did think about, there were about 8 or so ideas that I came up with, but I thought of what would be the simplest one, the most easy to implement, and the one that's most inclusive and easy to use for people. And I thought of this shape matching toy that children use, where they have those shapes and there's a box, and you have to put the different shapes into the correct cutout in the box. And I thought, how about something similar to that, where adults, anyone could have a shape which is printed on the packaging, and then match that with the box that is for recycling, and make it really much easier for people to recycle by just visually looking at those shapes and matching things to the correct box.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. We liked it very much. Thank you so much for coming as well. Well done, Samaya. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, our final winner of T317. Are you ready? And here we go. Harry Saratone.
Hi.
Harry, are you around? Hello.
Hi. Thank you very much.
Harry, please tell us a little bit more about iHelp.
Yeah, sure. So it's a dementia support console. It was from an experience that I had with my grandfather growing up. He had dementia, and as we all know, with elderly relatives, we need more help as we get older. So I had the idea to effectively update and improve on existing functionalities that are in technology today. So, for example, everyone knows about the panic button that people have around their necks. I thought about expanding on that, mainly because, as another instant, my grandmother had a fall, but that panic button only summons someone in a speaker that's in a different room. And she had to shout from the kitchen to the speaker, and it's like it's this big sort of safety and welfare issue. So I'm thinking, well, if I can combine that with a speaker and a couple of other little bits of functionality as well that can help. I mean, a big issue that my grandfather had was just reassurance. With his dementia, he was forgetting very little things at the start. So just for it to be at the press of a button, just to ask someone a question on a dedicated phone line, or an emergency button that actually says I'm in trouble straight away, it's sort of bringing that functionality and putting it immediately within arm's reach. The tags, again, someone might recognize them. They're very similar to sort of Apple GPS tags. If anyone has ever used those Apple GPS tags, they link up with an application that you can actually put information on. Now, I work with another piece of software called Dragon Speak software in my day-to-day job with a lot of people. And for those that don't know, Dragon Speak is speaking software. If you're not able to read something, it will speak it to you. So I was thinking, well, if I can input information onto these tags that can speak through the speaker, then effectively a carer could input information that the patient can access throughout the day. And it's sort of building that environment of safety, reassurance, and familiarity as well as it starts to fade. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's absolutely fantastic. It was really a really clear winner of our competition. So amazing work, really well thought through, and very good design. Great, well done.
Thank you.
Harry. Really well done. Oh, that's so good. Everyone is here. Thanks for coming. That's really reassuring for us that everyone is really interested in to see who's the winner, who's highly commended. And if you haven't done so yet, you are very much invited to have a little bit of a peek on our exhibition design website. So a dedicated team of student volunteers and ALs and central academics been over the last 2 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks, been tirelessly working on putting the website together, and looks quite good this year and works pretty well as well, even accessibility tested. So challenge us. We are delighted to open up the show, so to say. And don't run away though. We do have an amazing program to come, so we would like to start a little bit of a discussion around career choices, and one of them being as the highest achievement, a PhD in design research. And we've invited 3 speakers. But before this, a current intern in the design group, Ida. I don't know, Ida, are you around? Have you managed to record the video that you wanted to present?
I'm there. Yeah, I've got the video with me. I am Umune Sibudu. I studied EM engineering with OU, majoring in design engineering. That's mechanical engineering with a twist. So, it talks about, for design engineering, what I was excited about design, the process, and so the mental process of, starting from a concept or an idea you have and going through all the phases of it up to user research, up to, making a prototype, failing at your first prototype and, adjusting and iterating until getting to the final thing. And for me, it was an exciting part of our world. I am currently in cybersecurity, and there are processes of security as well, IT processes, and it's still the same thing where you think about the concepts. You're thinking about, okay, who are the users? How do we, how do I build things for my users? That's design engineering. It's being applied even in a field that is not core engineering, because IT is still engineering. You're still using the process of designing to design processes, to design systems, to design services, and apps, still the same design. The OU gave me the biggest opportunity one of the biggest opportunities I've had in my life. The OU gave it to me because I relocated from home is Nigeria. I relocated from home to the UK, and I felt very lost. I did want to do a degree, but I couldn't at the time because I had a full-time job and I had kids. I couldn't physically do a degree in mainstream uni. And so the OU, I didn't know about the OU. A friend of mine who had a similar path in her career where she was working full-time, she had a family, she went to the OU and told me, that after her degree in the OU, she got promotions. So I thought, okay, this is a really good path to follow. I chose to go into the civil service because I want to be about value to people. Hopefully that was okay. So that was a previous student, obviously, Yumanai. She has, we had met in one of the Women in Engineering conferences in Birmingham a few years ago. She was on a final year when we met, and she sort of gave me a lot of encouragement, a lot of inspiration to follow my degree with design and engineering and everything. And she was also one of the people that made me make sure that I would finish uni, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was very lost at the beginning too. So she was one of the people that inspired me to continue pursue design and engineering. So at the end, she was just saying how she had families and obligations and things like that, and she managed to complete her degree, and now she's doing cyber IT, and yeah, she's doing very well. So I thought that was very inspirational for future students and students that are with us.
Yeah, That's great. That's right. Yeah, it's always great. I hear many people being inspired from previous OU students and bumping into them like, yeah, of course I can do the same. I don't know. Has anyone else met an OU student, and was that the start of your journey? I wonder, how did everyone get into the OU? That's career progression. Situation as a full-time, but yeah, many of us work full-time and study. Yes.
Being parent and disabled and not being able to travel easily.
Yeah, that's right. That's we have a very large group of students with additional needs who might not be able to travel. Yeah, and for them, that's one of the only options, really. Yeah. A late night BBC Two program. That's some time ago, Derek, isn't it?
Okay, Nicole, don't rub it in. It was.
Oh, of course I will. It's payback time from you, I'm sure.
Which program was that?
It
was on applied mathematics. All I remember is this really weird guy getting out of a car, and the car kept on moving, and he was explaining Newton's second. I'm going, your car's going to crash, mate. What are you doing? So that was.
Sounds really entertaining. I'm addicted to education, says Pauline. Yeah. And Jan is remembering that one too. And yeah, again, disability, absolutely. It's impossible with many additional needs to go to a brick university. It's physical disabilities keep you, but also sometimes mental health. When you're struggling and you can't just have a regular rhythm or every day the same thing, or you struggle with too many people or noise around you. So that really gets you into the OU. I do think so. Yeah. Fantastic. In career progression, if you need to work, I mean, sometimes you just can't stop working. You still have to do that. What you have, earn for your family, right? Ah, see, there you go. Second career after retirement. Design is the best one. Sure. Yeah, exactly. That's so interesting. Thank you very much. It's really great to hear. And I do feel that you will always find people, design students, that are in a very similar situation as you. So we would really hope we could link up people more who have maybe same interests, same backgrounds. So if you have any ideas for how we could do this, how to link up students with similar needs, maybe they can work together on things. Or yeah, just because we know that not everyone can come, to face-to-face, for example. So online is a great alternative. But how do you kind of connect to each other, really? It's sometimes quite difficult at a distance. So if you have any ideas how we could help you to connect better with others and see, similarities there other students might have to you, let us know. Yeah, Sam says study buddies. Who's got a study buddy? I heard that before. How did you find your study buddy? How did you do that?
So Rachel,
I know,
is my study buddy, and she found me. So I think we were on the same lecture together, and I think I said something, and Rachel's like, oh, I think that's another service design person. So she messaged me, and we've been friends ever since, and we catch up on a weekly basis and have chats together about service design and co-design, and since then we've just been kind of chatting. So yeah,
amazing. There you go. Yeah, that's something I was wondering if anyone else thinks study buddies is a great idea. Yeah,
I do.
I have I met my study buddy in a WhatsApp group when we first started, and we're still study buddies up until today. That was 3 years ago now. So we've literally gone through our entire design modules together, and we're about to finish. We both finish next year, so it's actually quite lovely to be having someone that an infinity with, and you can discuss things with, you can bounce off, you can just have, it's just like she's like a great friend now. It's just brilliant. I don't know how I would have got through all this without her, if I'm honest. Her name is Rachel, but I don't know if she's here.
Oh, you hear Rachel? There's a Rachel here. The Rachels are good study buddies. Looks like.
I don't know which Rachel she is.
I think it might be a different Rachel.
Yeah, but she's amazing, and I'm thankful to her.
That's amazing. I wonder how the OU could help more facilitating finding study buddies, because it's usually chance, is it? So how do you make that happen? I really wonder. So if any one of you has a great design idea how we can make that happen, I think we would be really grateful for that.
Nicole, Delve in Microsoft, which I think you have, you can put hobbies and things that you're interested in. You possibly use that as a way to find people with similar interests.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we are thinking of maybe moving more towards Teams and Microsoft products potentially with our new qualification coming up soon. Good idea.
Sorry, I wasn't pushing the product. I'm not a product person, but
No,
I was just thinking of ways to do it.
It's what the OU uses. So we do use both Zoom and Teams, and we cross all the boundaries. Yeah.
How do you?
Okay, that sounds really interesting. Go ahead, Pierre.
Yeah, just a little to explain with give us what do you mean with through Microsoft or in the Teams through chat? How you do that? Rachel, I didn't. It was quite interesting that you said that, because as Paul said, was saying we are thinking of doing that with Teams, and then you said this common. So I'm wondering, how do you do that? How do you actually?
There's an application called Delve, which Microsoft has, which I know I've got it in my working life, but also OU does have it. And in Delve, you can put projects that you're working on. You can put about me, and you can put your birthday in, and you can put other interests that you have.
Wow. Okay.
It's out the box and it's there to be used. But don't worry, I'm not a salesperson for Microsoft.
No, don't worry. Although it is a bit odd that your screen is just next to Sam's. You are the bodies. So how did you do that? How do you manage to have your screen in my screen? You have your two screens are together. How did you manage to do that?
I'm going to leave that one to Sam. I don't know.
I think we were the last ones to talk, and that's why it probably popped up that we're next to each other. Or we're just meant for each other, and it's just happened virtually now as well. Never know.
Fantastic. Okay, I want to give us a little bit time for our PhD students, and funnily enough, you've already met two, Sam and Rachel. We had Meng-Chin. Are you around as well? We had an order, but we don't have to go by this order. We thought we give all the three of you a little bit of time, and then we have a discussion all together. Do you have presentations, or do you just want to discuss? So no, Meng, do you just do you have a presentation at all, or just want to have a discussion?
I do have a few slides of how PhD students' life look like.
You know what? Then you go first, and then we come out of your presentation. I'll make you a co-host, and I'll hand over the moderation of the discussion to Cindy, if that's okay. I'll just give you the right to host your presentation. So you should be co-host now, and you can share your screen.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Let me. Okay. Can you be able to see this?
Yes, very well.
Okay. So I only provide a few slides for like a brief introduction. I'll start with my PhD project first, and before then, let me give you some brief understanding of my background. So I don't know what's the background of Sam and Rachel, but I was like more likely trained in academic career because I did my undergraduate and my master in Taiwan, and for me, it's quite a special opportunity to get into OU because before applying for these positions, I have no idea that there's an open university like in the UK, and especially for for international students like me, because I think OU gives lots of functionalities and facilities for students, like especially for PhD student. Mostly we are got like either fully funded or half funded. So I was trained as my background was in surveying, like in geomatics, and more like informations. I think here in UK it is more related to either civil engineering or geomatic departments. And here I'm related to design group because I'm now working on a PhD project of using geographic information systems and combining some policy design in green infrastructure design. So this is my PhD project mainly working on. I'm working on some like urban greening strategies and trying to analyze the practice and measures to design these kind of green infrastructure for neighborhood heat resilience. And hopefully I got this chance to work on some case studies in Glasgow, Cambridge, Milton Keynes, and my hometown, one of the cities in my hometown in Taipei. So these are how research how PhD studies look like. Like we got some opportunity to get into conference. Like I just ended a conference presentations in New York, so we also got funded. So I present part of my work in the AMPSF conference in New York, and because my project has a part of the research design is working on some interview in community workshops. So far I've already we already launched 2 workshops. One is in Glasgow and the other one is in Taipei. You can see how different like people react and how we mapped different places, how people assess the green spaces and how people use these green spaces for heat mitigation. So it is really interesting to gain feedback from these kind of community workshops, and this is how I think most of the PhD student who's working on some qualitative research design will rely on the either interview or community workshop to gather the data from. And this is how our daily student activities in OU looks like. So from the right picture, the right picture shows the buildings of our library, and most of the pictures were taken in the spring conference at OU seminar room, because I have no chance. I was on annual leave back in Taiwan last week, so I couldn't attend the summer conference. So most of them, they are taken in the spring conference, but you can be able to see that we have different PhD students from different domains and different subjects attending this conference to share our work together. And here you can also see, like this picture was taken in the pub quiz. So we also have some pub quiz and some social activities together with students. And I guess this is the brief of how PhD students in OU, Open University, look like. So I'll stop sharing here, and I hope that Sam can jump in, or like Nicole can jump in to give you more introduction on this.
Shall I just jump in? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Meng-Chin. That was brilliant. interesting. Mine, well, I was going to do slides and everything, but then I remembered this, well, I started to do the slides, and I did like an Indiana Jones slide, and I did 2 towers from Lord of the Rings, and then I'm like, I don't know how old people are going to be and whether they're nerds like I am, so I'm like, you know what, let's just have a conversation. But yeah, so I was asked last week to kind of volunteer my time to talk to you, and I'm like, hell yes, I want to talk to students about myself, because who doesn't? And we academics love that, don't we? So yeah, so I'm here to kind of talk to you. I've got about like 4 bullet points on my post-it notes so I don't forget what I'm here to talk about. So I'm going to start off at the start. So yeah, obviously. So yeah, so I started my academic career in actually art. So I studied printmaking, and at the time something that was called computer graphics. This was a long time ago, still in the days when graphic designers would go on to work in magazines. So I worked in Elle magazine and Harper's Bazaar and all those lovely places. And then at some point we started to get wind of the fact that paper is dead and we need to digitize and all that stuff. So I went in and started doing web design, that nowadays is called, I think, UI and UX and all that. And just my career kind of went, you know, in different areas. So I worked in user experience, I worked in service design, and then ended up in NatWest, working as something called a colleague journey lead, which I don't even really know what it means. So I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, but I've always actually wanted to go back and do a PhD. So I did my master's, finished my master's in 2010, but life happened, you know, mortgage and all of that kind of stuff. So had to make a decision to go into industry and work there. But my son went off to uni 2 years ago, and I thought, well, now I can start being a little bit more selfish and take that time to go back and start doing, you know, what I've always wanted to do. And initially, I actually wanted to go to a different university, but they were, well, bloody unhelpful and just not coming back to not answering my questions. So I actually messaged Nicole, who's on the call today, and she messaged back straight away. And I'm like, I want to work with this person. So I heard about the OU from a friend at work, because she just was doing her master's, and she started to talk about that you can kind of do your own masters and you can do these modules all by yourself, like you can choose them. And I'm like, oh my God, what an amazing kind of flexible place, and just everything about the OU just kind of spoke to me. And I thought, well, you know, I do have I have to work still, I can't do a full-time PhD. So actually being able to do it in a hybrid setting and mainly online was the way to go. So that's why I'm here at the OU. Love every minute of it. So I started my PhD in October. So yeah, it's still baby PhD person, but you know, it's going well, I think. Hopefully, Nicole, you can say this, and yeah. And yeah, so the area that I'm interested in is design ethics. So that's the kind of the broader pie, or the broader cake. But the kind of the area that I'm starting to slowly converge into is the ethical decision making that we as designers make during the product design life cycle. And I'm looking specifically at the kind of ethical interventions that we make along the way, and how the decisions we make in the in the designs that we create, what kind of impacts do they have on our users? And, you know, is there a way that we can future-proof our designs? Is there a way that, you know, we can make sure that things like Twitter don't get created and stuff like that? So that's what I'm kind of looking at. And you know, it's not easy. It can be quite lonely. So having study buddies and you know, and very, you know, amazing supervisors is, you know, is very helpful along the way. I'm the first PhD person in my family, although my son is trying to beat me to it. So we have a little bit of a family challenge there. He's full-time, so he might just make it, but yeah, so it's not easy. but it's a dream come true for me. Love doing it at the OU. And if any of you do make the decision, sign up to the design coffee morning that we have every Wednesday, because me and Derek get into loads of really interesting conversations. So yeah, when you join, reach out, and yeah, happy for a chat at any point. I will hand over to Rachel, but I'm sure there'll be time to ask questions later.
Thank you. I'll unmute myself. Thank you. What an absolutely amazing privilege. I've been absolutely blown away by people on this call and some of the things that you've done. I really, really have. And I should say I use assistive technologies. So for those of you that have done that, thank you. I might be using some of those things in the future. My reason for not having a presentation is various reasons, but one of which is I design the invisible because I'm a service designer. So I would be able to show you a customer journey map, but lots of what I do is invisible. But I just wanted to have a conversation. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about my research project, which is called Inside Mum. I'm a government service design lead by day, and by evening and night I do my PhD and research. Fun fact 1, my dad graduated with the OU at 70 years old. Fun fact 1. Fun fact 2, I was born in the same year as the Open University. And I started my Open University journey in 1998, which is, for the mathematicians, you can work that out how old I am. So I started off in fact, it was only open degrees back then, but after the first year, I went into the social sciences. I enjoyed that, in criminology. I enjoyed that so much. I then did another one in psychology whilst I was working back then in the civil service. I first encountered the wonderful world of service design in the civil service when it was very much an IT orientated service design, but there was something about it that really kind of excited me. In 2004, I made a massive career change after graduating from the OU, because I felt like I wanted to do something really purposeful. So I went into the housing charitable sector. And at that time, I was really privileged to manage and lead community development and in the early years sector, which is still to this day a massive passion for me. In 2014, I worked in a strategic partnership in the charitable sector alongside health partners and local authority partners. And that's when I re-hooked up with service design, but more from the creative sector. So I took it from a different route, and I was trained by the Dartington Service Design Lab. I am cutting a very long story short here. You'll probably be very relieved to know. But I experienced around 2014 the most joyful co-design session with 25 mums and their babies. And it was the most joyful thing. And the practitioners and myself as a designer, we learned all from each other. It was the most empowering experience I've ever had. And that's why I'm passionate about it and want to continue doing it. So it was a very powerful learning experience that I will definitely never forget. About that time, as well as working, I did my master's, at another university, but only because it was the only place I could get it accredited. At Coventry University, I did forensic psychology. And that's where I pursued my interests in service co-design. Well, no, it wasn't service co-design back then. It was more about mothers and fathers in the criminal justice system and their experiences of parenting education. So that's what my research was in. And at that point, I was still, at the end of that research project, I was still very, very excited and curious about it. And then I started to think about how I could actually dovetail that with service design. So that's where I came into being. In terms of my research projects, I'm very much in the stage of a scoping literature review, going deep in the literature, having lots of fun with the OU library, but that's a whole other story. I've got about 3,500 pieces of literature to go deep into, which is joyful, at times sometimes not. Anyway, that's another day. I'm going. Is it okay if I put a Mentimeter question in the chat about what service co-design is or what it means to you? Is that okay? And I'll also put some links to my blogs. Thank you. Oh dear, I don't know what that's done. Hopefully that's put the link in. So there's a little Mentimeter there, which is asking the question, what does service co-design mean to you? This will help my research, so it's a call to action. If you don't know, it's absolutely fine, by the way, that is an answer. That will absolutely help me understand how I explain it and how I explain it to others. So that's my little, and there's my links to my profile and my blogs. Lastly, in the spirit of lived experience, because that's very much in the space that I'm in, I want to leave this talk with the words of Wendy, who is a mum with lived experience of the criminal justice system. This is in a fantastic book called Seen and Heard, which I will also give you the details of. And Wendy says, me and you, we are a team. Me and you are a dream. Me and we live both to belong together. Me and you are strong together. And actually, I think that about the design group as well. So that's the end of my spiel. Thank you for listening.
Well, thanks to Ming and Sam and Rachel for their very insightful coming into the PhD. But I just wanted to know if anyone had any questions. I'll put it to the floor. You can put your hand up or just say something or put a question in the chat, and then we'll get these amazing PhD students to answer your questions. So over to you.
Rachel, you're muted if you are talking.
Probably a good thing I was muted, to be fair. Jan or Jan, your comment about service design being taken more seriously, that's really interesting.
I mean, when you think about the sort of Kafkaesque experiences people have trying to get benefits or anything really, or negotiating with banks about, well, I'm not going to talk about Farage, but he's made his own bed, so he can lie in it. But anyway, yeah, that kind of thing.
Thank you for your comment. Thank you.
Is there anyone else out there who'd like to say anything or has anything they want to add? I probably would have a question. I was asked all three ladies, moving careers from commercial, moving from working career aspirations and deciding to what influenced that?
I didn't catch all of that, Cindy.
You were breaking up, Cindy.
Oh, was I? Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me now? I don't. Can you hear me at all?
Yes. Yeah.
You're in and out sometimes. You're
Okay.
sometimes breaking up.
Okay, I'll ask the question again. Yeah, I'm asking for ladies, what prompted what
You're breaking up, but I think I know what you're asking.
Yeah.
So just say yes, but I think you're asking that, you know, we've had our careers, we're kind of working in industry, and now that we've moved into, you know, back in, well, not back into academia, but kind of part-time back into academia, and what kind of, yeah. So I'm happy to take that question first. But yeah, so as I said, I've always wanted to be I've always wanted to do a PhD, like Rachel's going to laugh at me, but I actually published a blog post a few weeks ago about the real reason. So when you go to do a PhD, you have an interview, and one of the questions that asks is, why do you want to do a PhD? So everyone comes up with these amazing stories, very professional and whatever. And I had my story, which was absolutely true. And Nicole, I promise I didn't lie, but I did leave one small thing out of it, which was the fact that actually Indiana Jones, I always wanted to be like Indiana Jones. And when I was 9 years old and watched the film for the first time, I clocked that he was a doctor, and I was like, I want to be an archaeologist. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a grave robber. No, I don't want to, but I want to be an archaeologist, and I want to pursue a PhD. And then when I was at the Academy of Fine Arts, one of the teachers there, they said, that they wanted me to be their PhD student. So I was like, oh my God, I have no idea what that means, but I'm so honored. And yes, I want to do that. But as I said, life happened. My father got very ill, and I couldn't go on and carry on, even though I wanted to. But yeah, I decided I've always wanted to go back. So I was just waiting for the right time. Son left the nest, which was great. And then, I could go back. And I guess I don't know if it would be easier, leaving my job and doing a PhD full time or not. It's not easy. I have a full-time role. I do compressed hours, so I do my 35 hours in 4 days, and then I do my PhD in the evenings and then 2 days. But I do try and take at least 1 day off. So, because we need a little bit of headspace, but it's not easy. But, if it's something that you're passionate about, it's your purpose in life and you want to do it, I think, you'll find a way. And thankfully my career is not too far away from my PhD interests, so anything that I'm reading I can kind of apply to my everyday job as well. So I'm trying to make it work, but yeah, I think if it's something that you're very passionate about, you will find a way to do it. So that's my story.
That's great. Thanks, Sam. Anyone else have any questions?
I'll just, in this space, I'll just say I am committed to what I call academia. I don't know why I identify as that, but I do, which means I continue to practice in my field, but I also like the academic and research side of it. And I, like Sam, there's a slight separation in my local gov life. I design services that are similar, but not in that field, not in the criminal justice system. So there is an overlap in the techniques that I use. So I keep up to date in my professional practice, but I also have the knowledge. And so actually there's a 2 and 4 back, because I'm actually bringing the knowledge that I'm learning from the university and my studies into my practice life and push it back. So, and my mum, by the way, did exactly the same thing. So I'm following her path. She didn't call herself a academic, but she was indeed both. And she bounced back from teaching social work at university and being a social worker, and backwards and forwards. So I think I'm following her path there. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Rachel. I don't know if everyone can hear me correctly. I'd like to ask, when you completed your PhDs, because this is a question that us design students in their degrees get asked often, finished, what would you like to do after PhDs? Sorry, that's put you on spot. I had to throw that one in there.
Yes, yeah, that is also a question that I get asked often, and you are breaking up a little bit. So I think the question was that what do we want to do after we've we get our PhD. So is that correct? Yeah. Yeah, that is a question. So first I have to get through the Indiana Jones conversation, and then I have to start making things up because I know what I'm doing and I know where I'm going. I don't. There's so many different avenues you can take when you do a PhD. You can stay on as a lecturer, you can go on to do research, you can go back to industry and just be a specialist. I've got so many PhD people, doctors and whatever at work right now because we have a behavioral insights team. So there is actually a lot you can do afterwards. So my plan is to leave industry life forever. I'm actually going to tattoo the date that I can have my notice in, and then I want to leave forever and do research and whatever. If that will that work? No idea. There is something called a portfolio career that some students think about. So that's basically doing a bit of everything. So you can go back into industry part-time, you can do a bit of research here, you can write something here, you can do some lecturing here. So it really depends on what type of person you are, I guess. Do you want that kind of more structured, one pathway? Do you want to do loads of different things? I have ADHD, I think everyone probably can tell, but so I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of different things. So there's so many options that you can do that it's great. Just do it. Don't think about it, just do it, and you'll see where it takes you.
Thanks, Sam. Nicole, I'm going to hand it back to you because I think I'm having issues with my mic. I can't hear me properly.
Nicole, not sure you got that, but Cindy wants to hand back over to you.
I did not get that, Cindy. It's such a shame about the sound when you need it. I know. It's so interesting to hear those different avenues into PhD and out of it, and not really out of it really, but just sharing my own. It's really interesting. I stumbled into it by chance. I had no idea what a PhD was at all when I started it. It's my incentive, and being very honest as well, is I did an exchange year in Hong Kong, and my incentive was I want to go back to Hong Kong. And they offered a PhD. I'm like, okay, maybe I should do a PhD, whatever that is. It's such an interesting thing, but then obviously I got it. I got what it was, and I found it in the same way. I think I've always been interested in understanding reasons why, and I think designers are actually really well suited for this trade because we often really because we want to change things. So the reason. Wanting to understand reasons why is one of the main things, our curiosity that drives us. That really connects to research. I think for me, research is all about curiosity, wanting to know more, wanting to understand in more depth, really wanting to explore something and having the time. I think PhD is really a luxury. Maybe not when you're doing it part-time, because then, you work as well. I had the luxury of doing it full-time. I don't know, Meng-Chin, if you're still here, I think you're full-time, aren't you? So as a full-time PhD, you've got 3 years to really look into something and travel, your work. That's nice, isn't it? So I don't know, Meng-Chin, are you still around? Do you want to say? Yeah.
I think for me, it's quite a different experience. And well, actually, before applying for OU, I also applied for different types of positions, like more likely to be kind of a job, just like what I'm working on as a full-time PhD student in OU. But one of the reasons to pick OU was because the topics really fits me well. I'm really interested in the PhD project topic, and also to think about what I'm going to do after my PhD, also related to the original decisions I make here, because my project is more focusing on more related to the general topic of sustainability, and I think that the whole connection and the whole environment is more better to be discussed, and people has more aware of sustainability rather than study in a different country, especially I wouldn't say the States, but maybe I can build more connections here, either to the EU countries or to like different types of either local authorities or different NGO groups over here to develop kinds of policy implementation framework here in a foreign country. And I always want to gain more knowledge and probably have these kind of knowledge to give some benefits back into my home country, because I think like it's also not a nice opportunity to bring like a different blood, like all the way from Asian cities to here. You can see a quite interesting mixtures between like European students and also Asian students. So I think it's a really nice opportunity to think about studying abroad. Like for me, it's studying abroad, but for the rest of the students, it's a really nice opportunity to get in touch with international students, because we do have lots of international students at the OU campus. Yeah, this is my feedback about this.
I can relate to that. I love being at the Polytechnic University in Hong Kong. They were really internationally oriented. They had from all over the world, really, staff and students. It was really exciting. Very different views. You get very different perspectives. I enjoyed that very much as well. I do want to open up to the floor. If anyone has questions around research and design, what that is, what you can do with it, or anything else job related. Is there any interesting questions from anyone? It's not too intimidating, it's not, right? No. Very good. Emily, do you have any advice for changing industries after completing a degree? I usually stumbled into things. Networking, from my point. I don't know if anyone else is what do you feel is a good advice for changing industries?
I definitely did when I finished my first degree, because although I was very good employment, it didn't have the purpose that I needed. It just didn't work with what I'd done with the social sciences, psychology. It just didn't. So there were some other things that enabled it or just made it happen, but I definitely changed careers very drastically after I finished my degree. I don't know why, I can't remember. I wish I could say, apart from the fact my role didn't have the purpose I needed at the time anymore.
Yeah. That was an interesting word. Finding purpose. Yeah. You continue to search. Networking. Ida said, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think what I've done, because I've moved drastically. I started as an air traffic controller, went on to do data analytics, then went on to do graphic design. You can see that's been my career up and down up until now. And I think aside from the air traffic controller to data analytics, because that just happened because that was life back then, you could just kind of stumble into a job. But now I think what I usually do, if there's a career that I'm interested in, so as an example now, I got wind of the fact that my company is starting to look into generative AI. Big surprise, as if everyone else isn't. So I'm very interested in that. So what I've been trying to do now is kind of weave my way in. And what I usually do is, if there's a career that I'd like to shift to, I try and find something in my organization where I could do a kind of case study for myself. So I go in, and even if it's just help, even if I'm not getting paid for anything, I just do this kind of little side hustle with them, and then I can put that onto my portfolio. And I've done that many times where I've just done something, for free, but I've been able to to do a project in my, during work, and then that has helped me then have something to, to show that I've been doing something in some area, which allows me then to be like, okay, well, I've got that kind of experience now I can go in and start doing that. So that's been the kind of way I've been doing it. So, when I wanted to do like more mentoring and everything like that, I just looked for companies where I could do it for free, and then, I got a job to be a head of a head of a department and be a career advocate and whatever. So I think it's just about finding those opportunities somewhere where you can just kind of get a little bit of experience just to set you off on that road.
Eric?
Yeah, could I just build quickly on what Sam just mentioned there, that even if you're not in a big company, you can still almost use that exact same model. So, for example, I moved from architecture into visualization and then ultimately interaction design and product design a little bit. But with each of those kind of moves, it was almost exactly as Sam said. I found an area that I was quite interested in, and just did a bit of side hustling, more or less, I guess. You maybe find somebody who's looking for that kind of service or who might be interested in something like it. You maybe make connections with different organizations or different people who are working in those fields. At the time with visualization, it wasn't a massive community. So there's certain experts, if you like, who were generous with their time. They were sharing ideas. There's loads of stuff out there already just to help you move into specialist areas. But having that other thing to work on, that thing to work towards, like a mini project, something that's going to drive you forward, that's always a real pull. Okay, as opposed to just doing something or just wanting to wonder about something. And so once you've done a couple of those, you've got something in your portfolio, you've got something you can take to a prospective client or somebody who else might be interested in it. So yeah, it doesn't have to be that you're in a big organization to do that. You can always look, where you can go sideways, I guess. So yeah.
That's probably similar to what I did as well. Yeah, just doing the little side jobs and through networking, what Edith said. I mean, often not friends, just friendships, and then suddenly cropped up, and that got you into something. So yeah, definitely.
I wonder, is it a unique? I don't know what the three students think, particularly coming from practice into academia, but it seems to be a real designer type thing. Like, I don't know any of my graduate classmates who are still in the original jobs that they started with. There's so much sideways movements in creative industries because our skills are so utterly transferable. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. Maybe we're just wanderers. Maybe we just...
I mean, do we have a choice? There's so many glass ceilings when it comes to design that you kind of have to shift every now and then. It's like a Tetris, isn't it? Just trying to find the right gap to fill.
I wanted to mention that, Eric, exactly in that movement, that it is so characteristic in most of the people that design any aspect of design. They start moving around, yes, which is it's a very interesting characteristic. Also, there are going back to the original question about moving. It was about engineering moving to sustainability and climate. There's emerging jobs more and more, which is more at the level of helping an organization to develop a strategy, helping an organization to develop around sustainability, or using design skills to do research. So there is a lot of organizations that are looking for people that use design skills to develop an understanding of a particular context, or and sometimes might be related to sustainability. And so there are emerging type of, and co-design that you mentioned before. There is also quite often you will see people that require expertise of how we can work with our clients. Can you help us work with our clients to develop better services or better products? And so there are a lot of emerging type of jobs that we didn't really have maybe 20 years ago really defined as now. maybe this word design thinking, it was quite big in terms of jobs where people help businesses to develop their products and strategies, but now it's extending to many different aspects, not necessarily businesses. So yes, I think this movement is possible, and the placement that it was mentioned for someone, I can't remember, maybe that was Katerina actually. It's a very, very good strategy, or finding some small projects where you can participate in, also voluntary work. It was mentioned, but placement is a very good, possible path. It's a very good question, actually. I think there are some other questions also that to consider as we, which is about what do? We progress in these design qualifications, and what's next? There is Pauline, I think, was asking this question, which I don't know if we have answers. What next? You take the design courses, you complete what is the next step? Yeah, and I don't have an answer. I'm just looking faces to respond to this question, because I don't know. We are developing a new design qualification, and we're trying to make it more an integrated experience and more coherent experience in terms of you're developing a design degree, and to some extent it is a response to this sort of questions, something that that there is a continuation as you go from one design module to another, and as you graduate of what you need to do and what you can do, which at the moment it's a little bit more difficult to find out what you really want.
Braden, you raised your hand.
Yes, Raiden.
Raiden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regarding this sort of thing, as to like next steps and that sort of thing. And it's always something that's interesting, because I'm not currently in any sort of creative industry or anything like that, which would give me an advantage. I'm just a customer service advisor. But I try and reach out and network where I can with different departments and that sort of thing. But it's always interested me. Do you think it's possible to have some sort of, what's the best way of describing this? Some sort of up on the competition would be my best way of saying it. You know, some sort of thing that you can do during, like, I don't know, like an interview or something like that. Something that gives you that bit more of an up on the competition, you know, that puts you a bit above everybody, if that makes sense to me. Because I feel like there's a lot of things that are, like, for instance, there were a UX designer, junior designer position going at my work, so I applied for it. Why not? Might as well, hadn't you? And obviously I hadn't got the experience there. I thought it was worth it to get some feedback and that sort of thing from the managers. And they did give me lots of feedback on like portfolios and things like that. But it's that thing that I always think, well, there's going to be so many people going for a position. So what's going to be that thing that's going to make people go, oh, you stand out, right, I want to interview you. Do you get what I mean? And I just wondered if you had any advice on that sort of thing.
Derek?
So if nobody else will jump in, there's one obvious thing. I mean, we can talk about the disciplinary specific things maybe just in a minute, and we'll maybe kind of come out. But your Open University students, that is number one. It's a seriously, seriously important commitment that you take on as an Open University student. Some of the other personal skills that you develop, and some of the stuff that you go through as a student that's studying part-time, holding down a job, or looking after other members of family, that's a really, really big thing. A lot of employers really, really do respect that and appreciate that. And again, there's lots of ways that you can turn that to your advantage as well, to describe that, whether it's in your CV or in the case studies of your portfolio. And also just to think about that kind of stuff and pull out some of the characteristics, the skills, the capacities, the competencies that you have from simply just managing your life and being able to do something as big as getting a degree, whilst also getting on with other stuff. Don't undersell yourself with that one. It's a big one. I think we should be shouting a lot more about that kind of thing. But that's, I know that's not a disciplinary specific thing. We can maybe talk about that.
But I do think that merges into discipline, because I do think that you, as a student who has to do, you know, likely attend to other things as well. And we've heard that with our PhD students, you feed off these things that you do in parallel. And I think we've seen examples in our design submissions to the competition that you have a life, and this life kind of feeds into your design thinking, and through your studying you develop this, but basically both sides. So I think it's very much the integration of your life that is very demanding, as well as your study, which then feeds off each other. I do think that's again another very good selling point, as you know, for OU students, that they have really rich experience, you know, from realistic kind of lived experiences that feed into their design thinking. That's another one I think that can be highlighted.
Completely agree, and let that come through in interviews, because you know, you can really tell when someone has lived experience, has real experience of a setting or a situation, as opposed to just thinking that they do or hypothesizing about it. You know, anytime we were interviewing in some of the big practices I've worked in, you can always tell when a candidate is genuine. And when you're asking them questions, you can see them putting their lived experience together with a potential answer. Yeah, it does mark you out as, yeah, it is different.
Thank you for that.
Sure, is anyone?
Yeah,
Andrew, I think, yeah.
We touch on maybe one quick disciplinary, well, it's not quite disciplinary specific. I won't go, because so many different design disciplines, they have so many particular sort of requirements, if you like whether it's portfolio requirements. But one thing that is emerging, and Theo, maybe you can sort of maybe clarify this or correct me if I'm wrong in this. It's not just having static stuff in your portfolio anymore. So it's not just saying, here's a picture of a thing I designed. It's actually putting what is now being called almost like case study material into your portfolio. So here's a thing I designed, but this is how I went about it. Or these are the challenges that I overcame to do this thing. Or this is how I brought a team together in order to create this creative object. And that's why you want me in your team. It's not just the object, it's the how I got there to the object. So yeah, I don't know, Theo, does that?
Yes, actually, it is linked, and also in relation to my previous point, yes, Derek, that is absolutely. I was looking at what employers are looking, and they are, in certain cases, explicitly mentioned that, because they want to understand how you respond to certain situations. What they, most of the, I mean, you understand that when you have a project, when you have a company, when you're trying to do something, you want people, you're not interested just to see a product or a specific thing. You're interested to see how these people respond to a complex situation, how they can cope with that, how they can reach this kind of solutions. And so making a case is maybe a better word, exactly like I present just a product or, you know, an outcome of design. And that's what, and again, linked to what you said before, Derek, is, and we have an advantage, the OU students, that they can give examples that have certain complexities that sometimes you don't find in a typical, institution. And you can turn that into your advantage, because this is really important for employability.
Just realised I heard these kind of things before, and I just put a link in the chat about, we had a session 2-3 months ago, maybe, I don't know when it was. And Laura was in this one as well. I don't know if Laura's still in here. She helped us putting the exhibition together this time, and this came exactly out. So when you do your portfolio, you do highlight certain things that you, the skills or the approaches or anything you kind of brought into that. So that might vary quite a lot from wherever you go, you know, what you want to demonstrate, but it's not a fixed static thing. It's really a small, like, what do I want to highlight? And this is the aspect I want to demonstrate. And I think that came out. So watch the recording. They're really good, interesting pointers in there around portfolios, but also generally more, you know, career and design, different pathways and disciplines.
I remember my mentor, this was years ago, he said to me when I was talking about, like, I don't remember what I was applying to, but he said, you need to show them your special sauce. And that stuck with me so much. And basically what I did was, because portfolio is a visual tool, right? And it's, it's visual, it shows everything, but sometimes the only thing you can send is a CV. Now, people have started to move away from those creative CVs, and, when you've got a little bit more to show, you can't fit it on one page. So basically what I did was for each of the roles that I've done, I created a little success story, because when I'm applying for a job as a, I don't know, senior designer, for instance, potentially they kind of know what a senior designer does. Well, Rachel is going to say they won't know what a service designer does, but but hopefully someone will kind of know. But it's actually that success story. What have you brought in to this role? Like, for instance, I took ownership of this kind of interactive studio and whatever, but my special sauce in that was that I actually went across the company. I was the first person to go in and actually ask the users what they wanted. At that time, user experience stuff wasn't that, wasn't on everybody's radar. So I was the first person that actually started doing user journey mapping. So that was my special sauce, or my success story for that specific experience that I did. So maybe have a think about how you can put that, your special sauce, into different things, but not only your portfolio, but all the other stuff that you can use to apply for something.
Yeah. Sam, actually, that was a very good point, because essentially you described what I was trying to say with a very simple terms and very practical. Yes, exactly. That's example. The journey mapping, for instance. So you put it as a way how I address this, and just putting it there, it's such a hook for someone to understand what you can bring.
Absolutely. Okay. Just to close this discussion, I didn't realize you're already way into our kind of closing time. Let me just quickly share my screen again and go to our lovely exhibition. No, not this YouTube channel, but you're welcome to explore our YouTube channel as well, obviously. But let me just quickly show. So on the website this year we have a home kind of page, and I really want to highlight our designers for this year's exhibition. It's a lot of work putting the website, the social media campaign, this evening presentation, and putting everything together, including a catalog, which is nearly finished. And we're going to put this up on the website as well. But thank you so much, Kerry, Cindy, Georgie, Ida, Laura, Mike, Nadia, me, and Tara. Thank you so much for helping us putting this all together. Really well done. Okay. And
we should have introduced ourselves, Nicole.
Should we?
Well, we never did at the beginning, I don't think, properly. But just to say that Kerry, Cindy, Tara, that all students who stepped up to volunteer, and we just love it, because and Ida as well, and I've probably forgotten someone else as well, but we love it because we get to work with students and to hear what your views are, and to see the creativity that you all bring to it. So if anyone next year feels like volunteering to help, this is an early plug for that, really. And thank you a lot to Nicole, who pulls us all together. And she has spent, her and Laura and Mike are both ALs, and they've done a huge amount of work on this as well. And they've, we've all done our little part, but it all comes together in the end. But people have been furiously working into the night, I know. So I just want to thank everyone that's done that, because
thanks everyone. Well done. Thank you. It is, but it's enjoyable when you see the outcome of it, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for helping. Really well done. Okay. Thanks to our speaker. Thank you, Sam, Rachel, and Meng-Chin, and everyone for coming. Okay, I think this night is closed, and yeah. Thank you so much for coming, and I'm going to put this recording up as soon as I can. Okay, have a lovely night. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Hey, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.